Welcome to episode 57 of Show Me How It's Done. It is only 4 days until Christmas at this point, so I wanted to show you one last holiday card for your Christmas season. So today the bundle that I'm going to feature is the Sweet Little Stockings. Just so you know, it is on sale right now. So the bundle in Canada, I'm in Canada here, is $64.75 in the catalog, plus shipping and tax. However, the dies for this set right now are on sale at 50% off at $21. So if you buy the $30 stamp set and the $21 dies, you will only pay $51 plus shipping and tax for this bundle. So that is while supplies last until January 4th, but it's a great option if you don't have this bundle in your collection and you might like to add it. So I really like when those little treats get thrown in for us. So welcome. If this is your first time watching my Show Me How It's Done video, I have 56 other videos on my YouTube channel that you're welcome to go back and watch. I am going to walk you through how to do the project that you see in front of you. I'll verbalize the measurements for you, but I will also have them posted on the description in the video, okay? So you can always watch this and then come back and follow along with me after. So what I want to do is I want to show you this adorable, see it folds down, this adorable pop out Christmas card. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see all the different angles. We'll try. Okay, so fun little stocking all on the mantelpiece, ready to go. My only disclaimer, I guess, with this one is it doesn't fit in a standard A2 envelope. But what you can do is you just grab either a 5x7 envelope from one of your extra Christmas cards, or you can go to the dollar store and they have like the brown letter mail envelopes. These will go in there, okay? So what we need to do, there's lots and lots of cutting and steps for this one, but I will take it slow. We're going to work on the base of our card first, okay? So I'm going to move the Sweet Little Stocking stamp, put him up in my corner here, and we're going to start with a piece of crumb cake. Now what I'm going to hold up for you, if you want to take a quick screenshot, but like I said, these measurements also will be in the description. But if you want to follow along, snap a screenshot right now and cut all these pieces. This is my messy little notes for myself. But we're going to start with our crumb cake card base, okay? So I'm cutting it at 8 1/4 by 5 1/2. And let me just show you where I'm putting those score marks. Okay, so I'm going to move that now. So I have cut this at 5 1/2 by 8 1/4. We're putting a score mark in the middle, but we're also doing a few others along the way. Okay, so if I face it this way, I've put a score mark here at 4 1/4, but I'm going to keep going and do 5 1/4, 6 3/4, and 7 3/4. So there should be 4 score marks on your whole piece here. Okay, and you can go ahead, grab your bone folder, and I've folded the one in half, but I'm going to fold all the other lines as well. And those can kind of just get folded in towards the center, because what these are going to make is this little bottom piece that you can see right here. It's this little bottom piece and the back panel. Okay, so that's kind of what we're making right here for the moment, but we are going to do a little bit of decorating before attaching all of that together. Okay, so this is our back piece and we'll deal with this front one in a minute. So here's my back piece. The next thing that I want to do is I want to just get this back part done. So I'm going to cut myself a piece of evening evergreen. Okay, and this one is going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And inside of it is a piece of old olive, which is going to be 3 3/4 by 5. So if you were looking at my little descriptions, that's the thing down at the bottom. It says the back, evening evergreen, 4 by 5 1/2, old olive, 3 3/4 by 5. let's attach those to our card. Well, this is really easy to work with, okay? So grab yourself either some tape or some seal, whatever you prefer. We're gonna just quickly add those details to the card. And this is just a nice panel for you at the back to write on. Because the card does fold down flat, it's easy enough to write after you've attached all the pieces. Some cards, not so much, but this one, luckily, it'll be fine. Okay, so I liked the Evening Evergreen frame, but of course it's too dark to write on. So we threw in the old olive. And the little present that you see, it does come from the Sweet Little Stockings dies and stamp, but we will add all those details at the end. Okay, it's just, I like to get these pieces out of my way and onto my card. Okay, so that part is done. It's easiest to do while the card is flat. So when I turn my card over, I'm gonna have my large section facing the top of my workspace, and then I've got my 4 little areas kind of facing towards me. So when you've got it sitting like this, you should have kind of this edge piece almost sticking out, because of course, if you remember, that's the piece that folds over like this. This is the piece that we want adhesive on right here, okay? So once again, either grabbing yourself, I'm gonna grab my thick tape because I don't know why I have this skinny stuff here. There we go. My nice Terran tape. I'm gonna put adhesive on this little lip, okay? And so if you just kind of fold your card up, this part right at the top is where you're putting 1 strip of tape or seal, whatever you'd like. So, okay. So just keep in mind there is a little gap up here. That's totally fine, okay? I'm going to take my adhesive off, or the backing, and I'm going to attach it now to my card. So you can sit here if you want and try and line things up, but the easiest thing for you to do, just gently fold this in half. And if you kind of make sure you've got the 1 large section and 1 medium section folded, and then of course this one folded backwards, and just set it in place and it will pop up with a perfect square for you, okay? So once again, I remembered I only have 1, 2, and then the folded rectangle behind, in place, nicely popped out, okay? So now we're ready to decorate this area. So the nice thing about this is, let me flip this over for you. You don't need to waste designer series paper going all the way to the bottom, because to be honest, you're probably either gonna put like a chocolate bar or something in here, or this is just empty space. So don't worry about decorating that. We're decorating this back panel, but then we're also decorating this top panel. This is the little lights here too, just so that when you look in to your card, or if it's sitting on the mantle, you've got some continuity here, okay? So let's cut a couple things for that. So my Evening Evergreen piece is going to go in this top section, and you notice I've got a nice frame around it. So that first piece is going to be 2.5 by 5 1/4. And then while you're cutting it, you might as well cut your coordinating piece for right here. And that is going to be another piece of Evening Evergreen. This one is going to be 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/4. And then this last one here is 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so on my little fun sheet, let's look at you again here. Needs to be on the white. There you go. This is the Evening Evergreen measurements: 2.5 by 5 1/4, 1 1/4 by 5 1/2, 3 3/4, or 3/4. They will only fit in one space. So if you cut all 3 at the same time and line them up on here, they will only fit in one of the 3 spots. So don't worry about messing that up. Okay, so go ahead and put those on. And then we will cut you some designer series paper to decorate a little bit. So like I said, there is a lot of pieces to cut for this. So make sure you just kind of go one at a time, or make like 10 of them at the same time, because it'll be worth your effort then if you just cut all at once. Okay, so this should have a nice little crumb cake frame around it on all 4 of the sides. This is why I like this flexibility of the card, because I can kind of just manhandle it right now and put all those pieces where I want them. Like so. And last but not least, two, there we go. Okay, so here are our 3 framed sections for the background. But if you'll notice, I only have designer paper under 1 and 2, not under 3, because we're going to cover that up. You won't see any designer series paper because we would have left ourselves a little gap, and then this brown would have gone right over top of it. So the only 2 designer series strips that you're cutting are for this middle piece here. So 1/2 inch by 5, and this top piece here, and that will be 2 1/4 by 5. Okay, and I feel like, I don't know why, but there's some adhesive on here. I will use it. There we go. So of course you can choose whichever side of the paper you prefer. There's so many fun patterns in this package, and a lot of our Christmas paper is selling out already, but there are still some of this package available. So if you want it, make sure to grab it, because it's very adorable, but it's retiring January 4th. And if you are in Canada, by the way, my website is on the bottom. If you need a catalog, just shoot me a message with your address. I'd love to get one out to you. They, like I said, start January 4th for the spring catalogs, and there's lots of goodies in there. Okay, so here we go. I've got my nice base all done. This bottom piece, if you're kind of fiddling with it, you're like, hey, I haven't done anything there. It's because it's this guy on the bottom. Nobody's going to see it. That's what your project's standing up on. Okay, so don't worry about this. We're going to set this one aside for the moment and work on building this centerpiece here, okay? So it'll be much easier if we do these separately, just so you can kind of see what's going on. So I have a new set of measurements for you. So this is my pop-out panel section now. Stop, take another screenshot. We're gonna work on the base. We've got some more frames, an old olive strip for our stamp to go on, and then these pieces are for our mantle. Okay, so take one quick screenshot. I'll shout out the measurements. I'll have them written out for you, but this is for those of you who want to craft along with me. Okay, so pop out panel measurements. Another piece of crumb cake is what you're going to start with. This is 4 3/4 by 5. Okay, sorry, I need a drink. I can feel that tickle. There we go. Okay, so like I said, 4 3/4 by 5. On the 4 3/4 inch side, so this side here, we're going to put 2 score marks. Technically, it would face this way. 1/2 inch, 1 1/2. Fold on both of those score marks with your bone folder. Sorry, it's so dry in my house. There we go. Okay, so that should leave you with a fun little lip like this, okay? So if you can imagine, here's your little lip, here's that overhang, and down, that's what we've built right here, okay? So it's a little backwards than the other piece. We want to make sure that this thin strip of what we're doing is now at the top of our workstation, okay? On the last one, we made sure the large one was at the top. This thin strip is at the top. So set it down and let's put, if you have double-sided tape, let's put it up here just so you remember. If you don't, and if you're using seal, save this to the end because you don't want to have to work around it. But let's do a little bit of decorating. So I'm going to tilt this down so you can see here. We're going to add a little evening evergreen border, and then we're going to do a little stamping with this Christmas greetings sentiment. And then at the same time, we'll do this evening evergreen base right here, okay? So cutting. Let's do that right now. 2 evening evergreen pieces. So that is going to be 3 inches by 4 3/4 and 3/4 of an inch by 4 3/4. So go ahead and attach that onto your project so they are out of your way. And then if you have it, I am using Evening Evergreen ink, but you can also use Merry Merlot, you can use Early Espresso, any sort of brown, black, navy, something dark for your Christmas sentiment. Okay, so I have cut myself just a teeny tiny strip of old olive. That's going to go up here. I kind of prefer to do my stamping first though, just in case I make a mistake, I can always turn the project over and try again. So I wanted to use sentiments from the stamp set here. So for my sample, I used Christmas greetings, and you could also use sending lots of love if you wanted to as well. But let's go with Christmas greetings. This little strip that I did is 1/2 inch, but if you want, you could make your life a little bit easier and make it 5/8 of an inch. That would be a little bit more generous, I think, and it will still fit. So, sorry, I need to see it. There we go. Because oh, see, and it didn't stamp very nice. So I'm going to turn it over and try again. Hold it this time. There we go. That's much better. And if you wanted, there are either some stars or some little bows or candy cane. I'm going to grab the stars here, and we will just add the teeniest little detail to the side of my project. 1 and 2. There we go. Side, so I don't ink myself up with it. Perfect. And put the ink away. Okay, so once you've stamped, you can add it to your card. Just with some tape or seal. And making sure, because everything right now hasn't mattered, but this is a directional stamp. So make sure that your teeny tiny little adhesive spot is facing the top of your workspace. Then we've got our little small section and the large one, okay? The sentiment now goes on, and you just need to make sure you can read it, right? So it's not upside down. This is what you should be seeing. Okay, so I'll give you a minute to just double check your stuff before we continue decorating. So what we're gonna decorate now is our little fireplace, okay? So I've used the brick and mortar embossing folder to give myself the look of an authentic fireplace. So I've cut 2 pieces of early espresso that make up my fireplace and the top mantle. And then I've cut a piece of basic black that will be kind of the inside of the fire pit. Okay, so these are all embossed with the brick and mortar. If we're looking at my beautiful directions again, so early espresso, I need 2 3/4 by 4.5 and a piece of 1 by 5. And that black piece I mentioned is 1 5/8 by 3. So cut all those, emboss all 3 with the brick 3D folder, and then we can start attaching them. So of course, our large piece here is going to go on first. It's taking up the whole of the backing here. That's a beautiful fire pit. Ooh, static. Told you it was dry. There we go. And your mantle, now this is the first time we're bringing in dimensionals so far. We're going to pop that up on dimensionals because we really do want it to kind of be its own item. So adding dimensionals along this. And then this will rest right along the top of your green. So you won't actually leave a green border on this one anymore at the top. Okay, so it doesn't rest on the brown. You go up a little further and it rests on the green. And then it also takes up the whole width of your green panel as well. Okay, so just make sure you've kind of moved it into place. It'll take up the whole top of your card here, and then you can gently press those dimensionals together. So hopefully you can see a little differentiation, but I don't see any green at the top here or on the sides. So it purposely covers that whole space. Okay, so now before I add my little black fire in, I need to add some flames, okay? And this is where you guys are maybe going to cringe a little, but what I've done is I took the puppy die and the little hedgehog die, hamster die, see, they fit perfectly like that, and we're going to use them to make our flames. So the dog, he's got kind of like some fun fur up here. That's what we're going to use for the background. And then the little hamster's ears are what's going to be our flames. So if you completely disapprove of this, we may have some other things you could use as flames, but I thought it was really funny. So we're going to do that. Okay. So attaching your hamster to your doggo like so, just so that you've got his little ears and then the flames. And we're going to put one more piece of tape across the back of that orange dog. And instead of putting it right in the middle of your space, you're just going to move it down so that all you see is kind of the ears. So the feet of both your little critters are going to hang off the edge. And we're going to just turn it over and cut this off. Okay, so just make sure you've got about half hanging off. Turn it over and trim this like so. Okay, so there's your fire. See, nobody would know if I didn't tell you. And you can attach this now to the card. Oops, too long. I like, just tear it. There we go. And this goes right in this middle space here in your brown. Okay. So this is where I wanted us to get to. We are going to add these little critters, but we can easily add those once the card pieces are together. So let's attach this to your main card so that you now have the room to just kind of play as you want. All right. So we have one strip of adhesive already in this small section. I need one small strip on the bottom of your large section. Okay, so I've flipped this over. I've got the small section here, turn it over. This large section up here is where I need a little bit of adhesive now. Okay, so put it across your whole thing because this piece is going to be attaching to the base of our initial part. You can also add a second strip, maybe like a 1/4 inch apart. Don't add it too high, but you want to give a little bit more stability. Okay, so here's our 2 strips of adhesive, and here's the one on the top. Fun times. Now you have to figure out how to attach them, right? So you can, I'm going to leave this on for the moment. You could sit here and try to attach this so perfectly by eyeballing it, or we can do a little trick. So let's do our bottom piece first, like so. That one is a lot easier to line up. I like to flatten this and just make sure that I've given myself the smallest amount of border on the side, bottom, and the right. This one, easy to put in place. Okay, now that my card is flat, we're going to do that little tuck trick that we did earlier. So let's take the adhesive off the top, tuck this piece under, and if everything's flat, then you can just gently attach it, and your card will pop out once again perfectly square for you. You don't have to sit there and fiddle around with it. Okay. So our card is looking great, but we want to decorate a little bit. So what I did was in that set of dies, let me just show you, because I don't think I opened it up. There are numerous stockings that you can cut out. You can also cut out little tips and edgings for the top of them. So this is just your time to play, okay? There's no definite rhyme or reason that you have to do. I cut out 2 large stockings in Old Olive and 1 in Mary Merlot, and I just embossed them with one of my holiday embossing folders. You want any sort of texture. So the textured tiles one, you could use the quilted one, anything that just gives you a little bit of difference. Okay, and then I did cut myself out a topper and a little toe in white, and then a topper and a toe in Evening Evergreen for these guys. And for my little critters, you could cut out 3 dogs, 3 cats, 3 hamsters. I thought it was fun to do one of each. So I've got a little doggo with a Santa hat, little hamster who doesn't get a Santa hat, but you could give him one. It just kind of covered his face a lot. And a cat with a Santa hat. We'll color those in a minute, but let's work on attaching these. The easiest thing to use is going to be your glue dots, because all you need to do is just take one, stick it on there, and stick it onto your sock. Okay, the stitching does go towards the inside of the stock, if you're wondering. There's also pieces to do the heel if you wanted more definition, but I was kind of happy with this. There we go. And then on the top, I did do 2 glue dots, so 1 on each side of my little strip. It's a little nicer to have the stability. Go. 1, 2. Oh, that one didn't pull. Go. Just a little tip when you're using glue dots. Put your paper on the glue dot on the roll and pull it off. Don't worry about taking your finger and trying to pull the glue dot off because it takes half the adhesive and it's just very frustrating. Okay. So here's my little stockings and let's color some critters. Let's get those going. Okay, so my little hats, I'm going to use dark, real red. I certainly could do some shading in here if I used light and dark, but I don't want to make you guys watch forever, so I'm just going to quickly color these Santa hats in the red. Here. And then, of course, every dog and every cat is different, so you'll probably want different color combinations. But for my cat, I chose light and dark Smoky Slate. I started with the dark, and I just gave her a little bit of character. You don't have to worry about the ears as much because they're getting covered up, so don't stress yourself in there. But I just kind of gave her a few spots where I thought maybe her coloring would be a little fun. You could go around an eye if you wanted. Totally up to you. Okay, when you're happy with those spots, you're going to grab the light Smoky Slate and go over everything, including what you just colored. And that is going to help the colors really meld together or blend, if you will. If I wasn't doing a hat, maybe I'd add a little pink to her ears, but the hat covers it, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay, so go over everything you just did. And as the colors set, they will lean into each other even more. Okay, so there's your kitty. She's really cute. For my hamster, I decided I was going to color him all in dark cinnamon cider to start. So color your whole hamster. A brand new one, brand new marker. It's very juicy. Look at his cute little paws. And you certainly could color him differently if you had a gerbil or a hamster that was different. But I'm just trying to make this a little easier. So I've colored him all in dark cinnamon cider, but then I wanted his little cheeks to kind of stand out. So I'm taking my color lifter and I'm just going to do a circle. And you can already see that color being pushed to the side for his face. And so that's going to give him some nice chubby cheeks. Just make sure that you color this off on a scrap so that it's clear and ready for your next use. For the doggy, I'm mixing a couple things. So I'm going to use my bronze marker and my dark crumb cake. You could also use light and dark crumb cake, but I really liked the different shades here. So I'm going to start with bronze once again and just do his ears. And if you add more layers, you'll get more in there. And then I also did this center line here. His little snout. And I did his paws with this as well. Okay, and then just like we've been doing with all the other ones, we're going to take dark crumb cake and color over everything. So that's where you can see his ears are really going to darken. So I'm adding an extra color over top, but then right beside it, it will blend into his face. As those colors set, they'll change a little bit. I like the blends because you don't have to be perfect. You just scribble in there, and as the colors set, they'll melt together. Same sort of idea to attach the hats. I'm going to grab my little glue dots, throw a hat on Puppy's head and a hat on Kitty's head. And now we're switching to dimensionals for a second here, okay? So grab your dimensionals and let's start putting our stockings on the mantle. So I like to just kind of first put them on top here, see how the spacing's going. Okay. So the easiest way to get them lined up is just to have this little stocking handle kind of faced towards the top right, and then you've got a decent amount of spacing between. Okay, the dimensional is not going on the whole stocking, it's only going in the section right beside this little handle. Okay, that's the only thing that's touching, that's the only thing we want attached. Okay, so go ahead and attach them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you've got 3 little stockings and 3 little critters. So the easiest way to attach your critters is just put one dimensional just above the top of the stocking. This is where the heads are going to sit. And then you don't have to figure out what's hanging off, you know, like half the dog's head. It doesn't really matter to you. Okay, take those backings off. Then you can put these on in whatever order you'd like. I started with my dog and the little hamster. And if you find it easier, just flatten this while you're working. And there you go. All your critters are nicely in a row. You've got a fun little Christmas greeting up at the top, space to put some messages on the back. And then if you'd like, you don't have to, but you could easily fit a little candy bar in here, like the Snickers or Mars. Something skinny, crunchy fits in there really nicely because it's got a nice solid form. So you could just kind of tuck a little chocolate bar in there, and then you've got something really special to pass on to someone. If you're putting this in an envelope, of course, putting a chocolate in isn't very easy, but you can easily just mail this off to somebody. They can pop it up and set it on their desk. Okay, they may have to just kind of manhandle it for a minute here, but they do sit up. There you go. So there's our project for today, our Christmas edition. I did just want to let you guys know I'm not going to do a live video next week just because I'm going to spend a little bit of time with my family, but I may have an extra kind of couple videos just that I will post on YouTube, you know, between now and the new year. I have a few other ideas that I wanted to get out there. I just, I'm going to spend time with the kids, and so I won't do a live video, but I might pre-record them this afternoon and pop them up when I have a chance. But I hope you guys have a really wonderful holiday season. Hopefully you're able to see some sort of family or a friend, and you're able to also just hunker down and maybe craft a little bit. I know these few days that we have off are sometimes nice just to relax and enjoy some of our own hobbies. So I wish you guys the merriest of Christmases and Happy New Year. I will see you live in January, but do look on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel for a couple Christmas surprises that I'll still have coming up. I will see you guys later. Bye!